Good afternoon, everyone. This is for any of you who happen to believe in government conspiracy and helps to maybe try to figure out exactly what happened on 9/11. And this is the George Bush interview on the National Geographic channel. It was the all-week-long special. Just went by a couple weeks ago. Has George Bush's first actual interview, or an interview from National Geographic, since 9/11. And I would like to play something in this video for you, and I'm going to pause it and make some points along the way so that you too can understand what I saw. Thank you. I'm going to begin playing the video.
States in a time of war, and so I said all right, reluctantly said all right, and we headed to Barksdale Air Force Base in Shreveport, Louisiana.
This is the first Air Force base that he went to after leaving Florida after the attacks of 9/11 on the Twin Towers. Now, if you'll pay attention, I would like for you to listen to exactly what goes on at the Air Force Base.
You got anything on 151? No, you can have whatever you need, brother, because we don't have anybody in the air over here.
You can see that this is Barksdale Air Force Base.
And it was surreal because Barksdale was in the midst of a exercise that utilized armed bombers. And so we landed on this base full of armed bombers that were being heavily guarded by, armed troops. And it was like flying in the midst of a combat zone itself.
Here, President Bush refers to landing at Barksdale Air Force Base while they were under a basically a routine that they would do. He said that it almost reminded him of being in combat. As we keep going, I'll make another point in just a minute.
And we got in a vehicle, and the kid driving the thing felt like 100 miles an hour.
If you'll notice that George Bush said that he got into a vehicle, a transport vehicle, and, quote, the kid that was driving the thing felt like he was going 100 miles an hour. Now, as we continue on, George Bush specifically tells the boy something, and I would like for you to pay attention to this specifically, and I will requote after he. Thank you.
Bouncing along, charging along. Finally, I told the guy, I said, "Son, slow down. Al Qaeda's not here."
I would like to refer back to that line, and I'm going to play it one more time, but Bush said that he was bouncing around in the vehicle, and he said, he told the boy, "Slow down, son," and then it switched frame on TV, and he said, "Al Qaeda's not here." Okay, thank you. I'm going to replay that for you so you can catch it.
It's like flying in the midst of a combat zone itself. And we got in a vehicle, and the kid driving the thing felt like 100 miles an hour. We're bouncing along, charging along. Finally, I told the guy, I said, "Son, slow down. Al Qaeda's not here." That's about as humorous a moment as the day had. The American.
Now, I replayed that for you so that you could catch that, and Bush also said that this was about as humorous as a moment as the day had. I'm going to continue now, and we're going to go to the second landing of Air Force One at the 2nd Air Force Base.
Pentagon has been evacuated. And we're headed to Offutt Air Force Base.
This is where
From President Bush, we told you he's not returning.
He is not in Washington. He is currently in Louisiana, and we'll have something to say tonight.
made my statement, they refueled the airplane. We trimmed down the traveling party on Air Force One, and we're headed to Offutt Air Force Base. Freedom itself was attacked.
Now, if you notice, he said that they were headed to Offutt Air Force Base. Now, please keep up with me as I will be explaining my second argument and the discrepancy in this video. Thank you.
Morning by a faceless coward.
Notice here Bush says that he calls the so-called terrorist well, let me just rewind it and let you hear it.
And freedom will be. And we're headed to Offutt Air Force Base. Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward.
He calls it a faceless coward. If someone says faceless coward, obviously this is, it's pretty obvious that he doesn't have any idea as to who this might be at the time. Maybe, but he hasn't said such. But, he's referring to a faceless coward, not knowing who it is. Thank you, and I'm going to continue.
And freedom will be defended. The full resources of the federal government are working to assist local authorities to save lives and to help the victims of these attacks. Our military at home and around the world is on high alert status. The resolve of our great nation is being tested. But make no mistake, we will show the world that we will pass this test.
That is President Bush. Now that, by the way, just to point out what is going on, was actually taped earlier. The president made that statement. It was videotaped. We just heard it. And then the president was actually moved. He apparently is being obviously robbed.
The decision was made to go to Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska.
He is now going to Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska. And here at this Air Force Base is where I will make my final point. Please listen along. Thank you.
By the military and the Secret Service, because I figured this was the safest place for me to be. Very secure bunker there. There's a lot of communications there. When we landed in Nebraska, we got hustled off to the secure bunkers. We had a conference for a minute, and I had assembled my national security team via the video conferencing.
At this point, Bush says that he is headed down into one of the bunkers, and he has summoned his national security team, as he stated, and they will be on voice conference. Thank you. I'm going to play the video.
And I got a report for how each department was responding to the crises.